Good morning. I hope you all had a nice sleep and you're all wide awake this morning on this Sunday. Bloody cold where I am. Today, it's an honour for me to be interviewing somebody that's gone through exactly the same thing as what I did. His story is so similar to mine, it's unreal. He's gone through a lot. It's affected him, his family, but I'm glad that I can talk to him today so we can discuss exactly what went on throughout his ordeal. Please do get in touch via the comments and I will try my best to read them all out. Morning, Amy Munro, morning. I appreciate you tuning in. So without further ado, let me bring Jamie in and let's have a chat.
Morning,
Jamie, how are we doing?
Good, thanks.
Firstly, congratulations, mate. I'm pleased to see you out. I'm pleased that you're with your family, and I'm pleased that you took on the establishment and ultimately won. What I'd like to do, Jamie, if it's okay with you, is just go back to the start of all this and just get an idea of what went on. You know, what was the first knock at the door that you had, what date it was, etc. So if you could just tell me a little bit about that. As I just said to everybody else, I'm going to get messages through all the way through this interview. I'll read them out as we pause through each question. Okay. We've got Patriot Designer in, Amy's in, JMR's in. Thanks for joining us. Jamie, can you go back to the start when you was arrested? Can you tell me what happened, what the police said?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I had a knock at my home address, and I wasn't there. I was at work. My girlfriend came to the window, and she could see that. I think she said there was roughly about 5 officers there. Some were in plain clothes, some were in uniform. And she asked them what they wanted. They said they needed to speak to me. She said I wasn't there. They asked to come in first of all, and she said it's not my house, but they said they could gain access if they needed to. She asked them if they had a warrant. They showed a blank piece of paper, and she said there's nothing on there. And they said we fill that in when we come in. I can't actually remember if that was before or after I got arrested, but she told them I was at work and where I worked. So they came here then, and she had rang me, said the police had been at the house, and I asked them what for. She said she didn't know. And so I do massage therapy, and the building I'm in is a locked building, so they wouldn't be able to get in. So I came out to meet them. I was actually massaging at the time.
Right.
As I came out, I asked them what they wanted. They actually said, I can't remember what they said. I was like, nothing to worry about. And so I came down and I started filming them. I got their police numbers and stuff, and so I asked them what was going on, and then they told me that it was through I've been posting stuff on Facebook, and that the charge they actually said wasn't the actual charge. They said there was something to do with inciting racial hatred, or anyway, it sounded a bit odd, and I just didn't understand. I was still filming at that point, and they said I was under arrest. So I took my phone down and was just about to put it in my pocket, and they said, "Are you happy for me to do this?" I said no, because I didn't understand the charge. Because, like I said, it wasn't the actual charge that I got told when I went to the police station. And then they handcuffed me to the rear because they said of my reaction. And even though you can watch the police video, I didn't have any reaction really. It was just me, just kind of I stepped back once and went to put my phone in my pocket.
Sorry, Jamie, but so you filmed all of this, I take it then, yeah?
I filmed part of it up until they said I was under arrest, and then I just thought, well, they're going to take me in now, so I couldn't film much longer. I knew they were going to, more or less take my phone. And yeah, they handcuffed me to the rear, which I asked them, I asked them multiple times throughout my time from going there to the police station, can they handcuff me to the front, because I had a shoulder injury, and I was in them handcuffs for 45 minutes while I got to the police station. When I got there, they said I was going to go straight in, but then I was still handcuffed while I was in the police station to the rear, and I asked them again to handcuff me to the front because my shoulder was hurt, and I had another 45 minutes when I was at the police station in handcuffs as well.
Well, you shouldn't have been in handcuffs anyway. Not for the charge. I wasn't handcuffed when they came to my house.
I'm pretty sure he said indecent racial hate, indecent,
inciting racial hatred.
but he said indecent or something like that. I was just thinking.
Yeah, I was arrested for the same thing when they were questioning me. They said for inciting racial hatred. Now, I went not guilty, and that charge actually changed before we got to court to could allow others to incite racial hatred. So they made it broader, so they can get the charge across the line, I think. So you shouldn't have been in handcuffs anyway, not for the charge. Everybody's seen your video. It's been widely shared everywhere. And everybody agrees with what you said in the video. Did they have any other evidence other than that video of things that you'd posted or things that you used in court?
There was a meme, but like literally everyone was sharing a meme. There was a boat of people coming in, and there was a homeless veteran underneath, and so they questioned me on that one. But all these charges kind of got dropped, and they just took it to the video. Then even they changed the charge from trying to stir up racial hatred to likely to stir up racial hatred.
Likely, yeah, that's the word I was looking for. Likely, it's scandalous, really. I've got a question from Jamie. He wants to ask: was DNA and fingerprints taken?
Yeah,
they were. Yeah. See, there wasn't for me. That which is strange. I didn't get any of that, but I was quite ill when I was in police custody, and I went to hospital and stuff. So you're in police custody. I take it they took the handcuffs off at a certain point.
Yeah. Well,
how long was it? Sorry, go on.
I was in like a holding room, and they said that the officers would tell me all your cases ready, so you're more or less going to go straight into the interview. When I got to the desk, they said, when I first spoke to the policeman, he took me into custody. He said, I said, how long am I going to be there? I said, I've got customers and stuff. And he said, oh, you won't be long. And when I got to the desk, they said there was a maximum charge of 7 years. And I was like, I couldn't believe it. So I got to the front desk then, and then they read me out the charge, and then I got put into the police cell.
And I take it at this time you're thinking, shit, what the fuck's going on? I was the same. I was quite worked up about it all. Exactly the same as me. Now, the reason for doing this 7 years thing, they were charging. Did you enter a plea at a magistrate's court before you went to Crown Court?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they upgrade it to a Crown Court, and you have to plea again.
Yeah, well, it got fast tracked. We were told by the duty solicitor that all the people getting brought in for these things right now are getting fast tracked to Crown Court, and I was just like, I didn't.
Okay, so you had a duty solicitor as well, then, yeah?
Yeah.
And what advice did that duty solicitor say to you? And I'm asking you this because there's been a big scandal. I've spoken to a few people now that have been arrested. I spoke to Lucy Connolly's husband. I spoke to Cameron, who's been in and out. Her boyfriend's been in and out. And every single one of them say the same thing. And it marries to what happened to me is it almost made you feel like if you don't plead guilty, that you're deep in it, deep in the shit. And they advised me to plead guilty. There was pressure from the police to plead guilty. What was your experience?
Well, he told me that, I was possibly looking at terrorism charges. And I really just, I was like, for what? I said, for my video. And I was like, and then he also said that, there's a possibility that they could be looking at bringing your partner in just because she lives with you, guilty by association. And that really kind of scared me because I got a daughter with learning difficulties, and she's with us all the time. Really, we can't let her out to play because she's not ready for that with the kids. And we just like we were best friends. So when they told me that really kind of I was like, for what though? For that video? And he said, you know, a couple of months ago you would have been okay with this, but you know, now. And I said, well, what's the difference? I said, the only difference is we've had a new government, a new prime minister. And he just kind of like went like that, and I was just shaking my head. And he was like explaining to me then that, you know, he possibly could be looking at you know, 2 to 3 years. I can't remember if he even said 2 to 4 years. And I was like, well, for a bloody video. I said I haven't said nothing. And he was telling me, you know, if he was telling me the procedures then, because I didn't even know if you went guilty, they take time off your sentence. So he was explaining that to me, and I was saying, look, I'm not going guilty. I said, I haven't done nothing. I said, I'm not racist. I've never said anything racist. And he went on to say, look, they're trying to isolate certain things that you've said in the video, and you know, they're trying to say that these kind of things could be inflammatory and racist. I said, what though? I said, what? I didn't understand. And yeah, they had taken my phone off me. I wasn't allowed a phone call up till then as well, till after the police interview, because which kind of channeled me into taking the duty solicitor, because I didn't know any solicitors and I've been in trouble before.
Everything that they did at time of arrest and before was all orchestrated for people to make guilty pleas. I think it's absolutely disgusting that they threatened your wife with association. I mean, people listening to that will be angered by that. It's absolutely crazy. That didn't happen to me, but to actually say to you that your wife could be brought in just by association.
And my wife doesn't. My wife, sorry, my partner doesn't post anything on Facebook. She's not really into anything political like myself. She never posts anything. She never comments on anything like that. So I just couldn't believe it, and I was worried, because I was thinking, bloody hell, if they take her and myself, it would totally ruin my daughter.
Yeah, of course. It was all done to frighten, to get the outcome that they wanted. Deborah Milton has made a comment saying disgusting, scaring Jamie's partner, and referenced their child. This is absolutely vile. And Amy Munro said utterly disgusting to threaten Jamie with his partner. If you're listening now, please get involved. I'm sure you want to send your well wishes to Jamie and ask any questions that you want. So
I also have an older daughter, but I have part-time custody with her. She lives with me 3 days of the week. So, you know, even though it's not nice for her either, I knew that you know, she would be with her mother. But my other little girl I didn't know what would have happened to her. Both my parents live in Spain. My sister lives in Gibraltar. My brother lives down Cardiff. You know, my missus' parents live locally, but I was just thinking, what would happen, you know, to my little girl. So yeah, it was quite. That was probably the most scary bit.
Yeah, I watched your interview with Voice of Wales. I was listening to that to see what came up. Obviously, it's affected you quite badly about what was happening around that time. I see you getting quite emotional during that interview, and I can't apologise on behalf of Labour. I'm sorry you went through what you went through. What advice? So you've gone into the police station. Obviously, you've got yourself a duty solicitor. What advice did the duty solicitor say to you?
Well, like you said, you said, trying to say that the things I said were borderline. He said he he was kind of on my kind of side, really, in the way of thinking. But he said they're trying to take things out of context, and basically, you know, these things are taken out of context. So we're trying to, you know, qualify them then as being racist. And, you know, I stated clearly at the start of my video, I was talking about, like, I said radicalized idiots, which I meant, like, you know, radical Islamists or anyone who's coming from out of the country that could have been radicalized through wars in their own country. Like exactly. I said, we know now that you know, Axel Rubicabana, he was radicalized through, in my opinion, you know, he'd learned about the genocide that had gone on in his country, and
Probably through his father.
Took some kind of fascination in that, and then obviously he was referred to. He talked about things, and he carried weapons to school multiple times. There was enough there. He'd already been referred to the prevent team as well, which I can't believe after all them things, nothing at all could have happened to him. He couldn't have been. He was an obvious danger. He should have been detained in some way.
100%. I mean, the scandal that's come out about that is next level. I mean, there are people in jail at the moment, and I'm talking about Wayne O'Rourke, Lucy Conley, that basically stated that he was Muslim and it was a terror attack, and they were both right. So they're currently in prison now for speaking the truth, which I think is absolutely shocking. I know.
I have been a little bit wary about speaking out, but I really just want to help these people who are in prison that shouldn't be there, because they've, like I said, like you just said there, now they stated that this was a terrorist attack, and they're in jail for saying that. And now we found out that it was, and they're still sitting in jail.
And we find out that it's a cover-up by Keir Starmer and his cronies, basically withholding information from the. I put the riots solely at his doorstep. For coming on the TV the next day and basically calling everybody far right that went out to protest, that we've had enough and we don't want this happening to our children anymore.
He knew within a couple of days, and then he
knew hour by hour, 100%. He knew within, and that has came out as well. He's actually said that we knew hour by hour, we knew what was going on, but I couldn't say anything because I didn't want to jeopardize the trial. All bullshit, absolute bullshit. Let me just read a couple of messages for you. So I've got Katie Morgan in this morning. She says, have a lovely time with the money raised. Sending love. Cardiff. Amy.
The voice
intimidation at the highest level. What else have we got? Katie again. Jamie, I just want to say how happy I am for you with the not guilty verdict. Hope you and your family are okay. And JMR says, hi, Jamie, I booked a week in Wales in April because of you. So let's go to you've been charged. How long was it before arrest and charge before you were being taken to His Majesty's pleasure?
So it was the Friday afternoon I got taken in, and they said the interview was ready, prepared for me. But when I got there, it wasn't until the next day that I got interviewed. And then by the time they interviewed me and they kind of processed the interview, they said it was too late to go to court then. And the courts I don't think they're open on a Sunday, so I had to wait till the Monday. And so I had 3 days in the police station. And to be fair, the police in there, they were okay with me. I mean, there's always one that's a bit awkward, ignoring the requests that I was asking for when I was asking for a cup of tea or food. But the majority of them were, I'd say pretty much all of them were okay there. Then I went to the Magistrates Court in Cardiff, and I met with my solicitor again beforehand, and he was saying things like they still haven't given me some of the stuff that he wanted, and I was just like, what do you mean? And he was saying, or they've just literally just handed it to him or something like that. But when we went into the courts, there was a few errors. They got the name of my video wrong. The name is still on Facebook now. This is what I think, and the name they said in court was This Is What I Believe. So I hadn't been to court before. I tried to put my hand up and speak, and the judge said, "This isn't a place for you to speak." And I just sat there, just thinking, "Wow, all these lies are bloody." They're untrue. They're untrue. Then the things that they were saying. So I just felt a bit helpless then, because I just thought if I didn't shut my mouth, then something worse would happen.
Yeah, they were quite. The judge in my trial eventually, he was a twat. He was awful. Because I was similar to you. I'd done a bit of time in HMP Leicester. Then I was out on tag, and they had my passport. I was on curfew, and I was quite ill at that point. When my trial happened, I was being wheeled in by my wife in a wheelchair. And then on the Friday, he decided, because there was no decision, that he was going to put me back into jail for the weekend. So I had a very bad experience with the judges. So you've obviously made your not guilty plea at the magistrate's court.
Well, my solicitor, like you said, I think you need to think about this because it's not clear whether, what you were saying is we can't make a judgment whether it's racist or not. And so he told me to go no plea. And that was, in my opinion, even though I think I probably still would have gone to jail, I wanted to go not guilty from the start, but he said, I think we need to think about it. So I took his advice and went no plea at that stage. And then further, I think it was about maybe 10 days later, I went to Crown Court again. And by this time, I'd had different solicitors because, I really weren't happy with them. And when I met with them, first of all, literally in a holding cell just before I was going into court, I said, look, I'm not going no plea. I said, no plea to me means bloody guilty. I said, I'm going not guilty. And that's it. I said, I'm not settling for anything else. And they both went, okay, that's fine. So.
Well done, mate. I mean, it takes some balls to go not guilty. It's a difficult decision. I went not guilty from the start, right from the very start. When I done my magistrate's plea, I went not guilty, and they basically laughed at me and said, why are you going not guilty? Because they had a dossier on me of like 100 pages. So where was you remanded, Jamie?
Just wanted to say the judge refused my bail because he said he feared that I was likely to cause further offences.
Yeah, I think that they said that to everybody, mate. I got refused my bail from magistrates. Luckily, I managed to get my bail from the Crown Court, and I think that was simply due to my health issues. I don't think if I wasn't in a wheelchair and I wasn't having issues with my health, I'm pretty sure that I'd have been there for the 3 months until my trial. So you're remanded, yeah? Which prison was you remanded in?
In Cardiff prison.
In Cardiff. So then you've had your Crown Court hearing. I take it you've gone not guilty then. And how soon after that did you get your bail? Because you got out, didn't you?
Well, like I said, I just met my new solicitors that morning before I went into court, told them I was going not guilty. Then the judge said I was remanded in custody to until my trial, which was, it was 7 months later. I was first arrested August the 9th, and then my trial was January the 3rd initially, but it ended up starting on January the 4th. February the 4th. And I made a bail. I wanted my new solicitors because I seen the first bail application. It must have been really poor. That's what I thought because I didn't get bail, so I wanted them to build up a bit of background on me to make sure that this bail application worked. And my new solicitors then, they were in the Free Speech Union, but they were still good. But they ended up getting me that bail application, and I ended up getting bail.
What was your bail conditions, if you don't mind me asking?
I had a curfew like yourself, a tag, and I wasn't allowed to go on social media.
Yeah, exactly the same. So you're in prison. I know this is difficult because it's difficult for me when I have to talk about it. How was your experience inside? Any issues?
It was okay. It was just it was the fear that I was in for being a racist. And when you go into jail, there's a lot of foreigners there, so the word gets round. But say I've been in the military. I've worked with plenty of foreigners. I got no problem with foreigners at all. So I wasn't afraid. I was playing table tennis, playing football with them, talking to them. But yeah, there was always in the back of your mind that there's always going to be one person there that might take a dislike to something, if they find out what you're in for, and then follow you into the toilets or something, and next thing you're in some kind of altercation. So that was always in the back of my mind. I suffer with quite a bad health condition. Sometimes it leaves me a bit breathless, and my cellmate was vaping a lot, and that was making me have a dry mouth every morning. And I felt like I was struggling to breathe on times, but because the jails were full, I couldn't swap rooms.
How were the officers while you were there? I mean, I spent 2 weeks in HMP Leicester, and it's a shithole. And the prison officers, I mean, the amount of stuff that I see off from my cell door, what was going on, with no interactions with prison officers. They did not care a jot. There was drug deals going down here, there, and everywhere. There was fights. The alarms were going off all the time, and they seemed quite incompetent. They just seemed like they'd given up. What were they like at Cardiff?
They were okay. You know, they weren't. I wouldn't say they were bad to me. They were. Yeah, I can't say anything really bad. There's always the one you think that one or two that doesn't takes a bit of a dislike to you, but the majority of them weren't too bad, to be honest with you.
Let me just read a couple more messages out for you. Getting quite a few in. So, first, Wiseman has said, respect for standing your ground, Jamie. Never surrender. Barbarian says, disgusting that you were put through that. Did Jamie get a sense that the police were 100% behind the lunacy, or was this driven from the top?
Well, like in the investigation, 3 police viewed my video and they said there was no crime there. There was no incitement of racial hatred. So I didn't know this at the time till later. But knowing that now, I just don't know how it went to the CPS. And also my barrister from this Free Speech Union, because I ended up going with, they had messaged me. They said they'd seen that I pleaded not guilty on in the media, and they were interested in representing me. And I just thought, this is a free speech matter, so I decided to go with them because it's their kind of speciality. And I can't thank Luke. It was Luke Gittos, my solicitor, brilliant, and Adam King in courts was so impressive. If you got this kind of issue with free speech and you're getting in trouble with it, then you really need to speak to the Free Speech Union, because they're the men, and they're the guys that are going to keep you out of prison, because they're really impressive in court. Adam was.
They do a fantastic job, absolutely fantastic job. And the times that we're living in now, I echo what Jamie's just said. Get involved with them, join Free Speech Union, because you never know when it blows up again, which it will, and you say something that the establishment doesn't like, you can have them on your side. A couple more messages for you. So Hey, who I had on my podcast a couple of days ago on a Scotland special about migrants. He said, man's a hero. Thank you for your service as well. And Hatch says, have a strong stomach in these circumstances is key. Well done for trusting your gut feeling and knowing you haven't done anything wrong. The police will always try and scare you into an early guilty plea, no matter what. And you have done is to save them the paperwork. It's business to them. So thanks for those comments. I'll just touch on you're an ex-Royal Marine, is that correct?
Yeah.
And I read also that you was on Man United's book as an apprentice. Is that?
That's not quite correct. I was a schoolboy footballer, so I signed a 2-year kind of schoolboy forms. They were from the ages of 14 to 16. I was going up every weekend. I was going up the school holidays. I was Nobby Styles was my manager at the time.
Right, okay. Amy Munro said, noted.
I actually got my apprenticeship with Oxford United and Cardiff City.
Did you? Okay, so you're a bit of a player then, obviously.
I was good back then.
Back then. Amy said, noted. I'll be joining the Free Speech Union, so that's good.
And it's quite cheap, Is it the membership? I think it's £25 or £30 for the year, so it's not really
not extortionate. No, and I'm not a member yet, but I will be fairly soon because I will join soon. Let me just, as we've talked about Free Speech Union, let me read their post that they put out about you. So Free Speech Union member Jamie Michaels spoken out over his shocking ordeal. The former Royal Marine was reported to police by the office of a Welsh Labour politician. I'll stop there. Has that Labour politician apologised, or have they made any contact with you at all?
No.
And have you got a message for said Labour politician that you would like to deliver whilst you're on this platform?
Well, I would just like to know, why she has come out and said that she had complaints from locals about this video, which none of these names were mentioned in court. So makes me, I don't really believe that. I would like to know why she thought that it was so bad that she had to report it to the police.
Absolutely. There's been uproar about it. I know she's been getting a lot of messages from pissed off patriots. You deserve at least an explanation, and at the very least an apology.
She said
sure.
that because if politicians are mentioned, but in the video I just said we need to go to the politicians and voice our concerns. I wasn't threatening.
No, not at all. Listen, Jamie, everybody's seen your video. There's absolutely nothing in there that warranted you going through what you've going through. And it's not just you that goes through it, it's your family as well. Let me just read this free speech union out, and then we'll touch on that as well. So, politician Facebook video posted in the wake of Southport murders. His offence, urging people to engage with politicians and exercise their democratic rights over concerns about unchecked illegal immigration. He was arrested, remanded in custody for 20 days, refused bail, and categorised as someone with terrorist intentions. So let me just say that again. He was categorised as somebody with terrorist intentions. Shocking, absolutely shocking.
I think she's the only one that looked at that video and had them thoughts, because everyone else in the community were behind me. You know, they do have concerns with unchecked people coming into the country, as we all do. You know, I think we have every right to be, especially with our children, because these people coming into the country could be coming from foreign jails, they could be coming from mental institutions, and if they want to come here, why, come in the proper way. That's what I think.
I agree. Whilst we're on the subject, everybody that's coming into the country are fighting age males. There's no children, there's no kids. There's talk going around that they are the UN's army, which I'm coming on board with. I think we're close to something happening. What pisses me?
My concern has always been with the kids, and like Rupert Lowe recently wrote a letter to Yvette Cooper, the Home Secretary, saying that he's had multiple reports from around the country of parents that have complained to him that these guys are coming out of the hotels and they film in the schools, they filming the kids in the schools, and if we are doing that, we'd thrown in jail. But what's going on? And they say, no, it's a cultural thing. Well, it's got to stop. You know, even in the last couple of days now, you're hearing about people trying to get into schools or around the schools with machetes. It's bloody crazy. Like, we got to, in my opinion, we need some kind of security on schools, and that's what I was saying in my video.
Absolutely. I am very close to pulling my boy from school. Around here, there seems to be a letter or a parent guardian communication weekly now that says that this man has been spotted outside the school. There's been suspicious happenings in people turning up in cars. I know of a school where immigrants are camping on the school playground or somewhere within the vicinity. And the letter went out to the guardian saying, "Don't worry about it. There's adults on site. It's not an issue. The police are going to sort it out."
In the last week, we've had 2 or 3 schools go into lockdowns because of people trying to get into the schools. You know, what are they trying to get into the schools? Some of these people have weapons as well. You know, I think everyone's alarm bell should be ringing that it's the schools that seem to be that's the issue with, and if you voice your concerns, that's even more scary. If you voice your concerns, they're throwing you in jail for a long time as well sometimes.
Well, my message to them is they can F off. We need people to speak out. We need people to keep speaking out, and we need people to be brave with this. This is children's future. This is our grandchildren. we have to stand up now and make a stand. So you making a stand, and I and many others, it has to happen. And there needs to be more people that are brave to actually say, what the fuck are we doing? What is going on? Because it seems that Labour and Keir Starmer are quite happy just to let them come in, give them a hotel, feed them, access to doctors and nurses. It's like, I won't say what I was going to say, but it has to stop. So I'm with you on that.
It's our tax money that's paying for all this, so we should have a say in it. You know, and they upping our taxes in all sorts of ways: council tax, inheritance tax, taking the winter fuel payment away. You know, we should have a say in it.
100% we should. Are you on X, Jamie?
I am, yeah. I just I forgot my bloody passwords. I don't know where I've written them down, so I can't get back on there at the moment. The same for Facebook, but I will be soon.
Yeah, get on there. I'm pretty sure that everybody listening to this and many people will follow you and follow your story, like they are mine. To be fair, so it's a great platform to be on, Jamie. You get unbiased news, the correct news, the right news, none of the mainstream media bullshit. So I strongly urge you to get on and give me a shout when you do, and we'll get your profile shared and get your numbers up. So I want to just go back a bit slightly, and this is a difficult thing, and this is difficult for me. So dad, partner is in prison. How did it affect your family?
Well, it just happened to be that period of time was both my my daughter's birthday and my youngest who has the learning difficulties, and my part. I actually got released on my partner's birthday, but I was supposed to come out around 10:30 in the morning, but they didn't release me till the evening. It was gone 7 o'clock. So yeah, it was difficult. Like I say, I got my daughter. It was her birthday, and I had to sing happy birthday down the phone to her. And she didn't understand that it wasn't a video phone. She was saying, "Look at my presents, Daddy. Look at this, Daddy." And I just had to pretend and just say, "Oh, that's great, babe. That's lovely." And that was probably my lowest point. That choked me up. Still chokes me up now.
100%. It's
my like my missus is pretty strong, but you know, I would say not all the time, but most of the time, I could tell she was tearful in her voice, and she was telling me that she's finding my daughter in the room on her own crying, and she's saying, "Where's Daddy? Where's Daddy?" And yeah, that was shit. And to think now that Buffy Williams is she's getting a lot of criticism for this. Some people are saying, "Well, she's got a family," and I was thinking, well, I had a family, and she didn't seem to be bothered about doing this to me.
Damn right, mate. Damn right.
If she's having criticism, then I think it's well deserved. And
100%. I think she needs to make contact with you personally, apologise, bare minimum, and a lot of people think the same as well.
Even when I had a visit in jail, because she really wanted to see me, my daughter. We couldn't tell her it was jail, and she did actually come in because she's seen the bars and that. She was saying, "Is this jail, mommy?" And she was going, "No, babe, no, it's not jail." And I could tell when she first sat on my lap, she just gave me the longest stare into my face. She sensed that something wasn't right, and yeah, just I don't know. It was just I'll never forget that stare she gave me. So it was probably for about say 10 to 20 seconds, just looking in my eyes, and yeah, I just thought, shit, I gotta get out of here.
I'm sorry you went through that, mate. I really am. A similar story to me, to be fair. I don't really want to live mine again. Amy said, 100% Mark, I couldn't agree with you more. Absolutely nothing said in Jamie's video that warranted what they did to him, and also heartbroken for you, Jamie. They don't care how this affects the children and families. And that's the point. They threw people in jail that all have families, jobs. There's a lot of stories of people that used to care for people, etc., for telling the truth, essentially, for being pissed off at what's happening in the UK. What do you say on that? What do you say to the government? What do you say to Keir Starmer about that and how it affects not just you, but the children and the families that have to go through it as well?
Well, they just send in a message, and but they're just trying to shut down the conversation because it's anything in opposition to what they're doing. They're trying to call average people far right. That's just ridiculous. These people are just voicing their concerns with the obvious things that are going on, and they're trying to make examples of people like myself. I was looking at probably three years or more if I was going to be found guilty. Two of the guys who I went in with, they had both 3 years. They took a year off for going guilty, and now they're serving their 2 years. I know one is an ex-veteran as well, and I've known him all my life. Really, he lives local to me, and he's in there. They're ruining his life. He's lost his job. He had to sell his car. Local boys are trying to get whip rounds to keep funding coming in. And he's served his country. He's been to Afghan. I think he's been to Iraq. He's put his life on the line, and now this is his thanks for voicing his opinions. They have said different stuff to me, but it doesn't warrant jail. If anything, community service or a fine. But even that, if he had the Free Speech Union on his side, I don't think he wouldn't have anything at all.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that don't deserve even less than that. They just don't need to have been arrested and charged for these stupid fucking. It drives me potty. It really does. Message from Barbie Barbarian. Also, those with anti-British, anti-white rhetorics are not being arrested or investigated or treated appallingly like Jamie has. Do you go along with that? We live in a police state with a two-tier justice system.
Yeah, well, like I said, leading up to this, I had the police to my door, and they didn't specify if it was a video or a post or anything, and they said, they said you sounds like you're trying to incite an uprising, just because I was telling people to be vigilant and get prepared, because I could see the escalation after the October the 7th attacks in Israel and the Palestinian protests, and I could see people openly calling for raping of Jews and killing of Jews and support of Hamas, which is a terror group. And nothing was, that seems to be okay. But when the kind of anti-protest to that, then they're all calling far right, and you get in bloody jail for saying nothing. So there's definitely, and I just think the police are having their hands tied. I think they want to do the right thing, but they, in fear of losing their jobs through being called racist or, arresting someone who's of a different color or religion, and they're getting backlash for that. Then, so they're all, they must be talking with them, within themselves and saying, look, it's just not worth doing that. Doing that kind of thing, because you'll end up losing your job, and they could lose their jobs, their house or whatever. And I think that problem really needs to get addressed, because it's just not fair. Like, we are here, we are taxpayers, we are and we're not getting a say in anything, whereas these people coming into the country are not taxpayers, and they're getting all sorts of things, and we haven't got a say in it. And if we do have a say in it, we're getting punished for it.
100%. And my opinion is that the police are corrupt. There's many videos going around of protests where police are there signaling to each other to try and start some unrest. You'll probably see all of them if you search for them. I posted one yesterday on here. Undercover copper in the crowd makes a gesture to the officer. Officer tips his hat, and then trouble starts.
I posted that video as well.
Yeah, you've seen that one.
Yeah, you can see there are people within these crowds that are agitators. I've seen it during COVID protests. You got 99.9% of the people there are peaceful, and then you got these idiots that are all worked up and sweating, and they're screaming, and they're trying to egg the rest of the crowd on to do these bad things, and like you said in that video what you just talked about there, and I've seen other videos where you got the same kind of thing going on, and it's inflaming the crowd, and then you may get one or two people who are there generally angry, and then they're not thinking properly and just following suit. And then the next thing you know, they calling it a riot, where it was, initially it was a protest, a peaceful protest.
I went to the Tommy Robinson isolation rally last weekend, and the amount of riot vans that were there, the amount of police officers that were standing in side streets was unbelievable. Where the police had ordered us to start the rally from was in like a T junction, and they were telling everybody to get off the pavement. You're not allowed to stand on the pavement. Like, what the fuck? What do you mean we're not allowed to stand on the pavement? And they were making everybody move down this alley. And I think it was solely intended to cause us to be pissed off, to get agitated, because we're all being bunched in and kettled in. But it went off without a hitch. And you see these Palestinian marches most weekends with the bedwetters that have got nothing better to do on a weekend, marching through the streets of London with their flags, Hamas flags, and they just go unopposed. So you can understand why people get pissed when the trouble started with Southport and there was shields and riot fans every time with the white people. And then you see live on Sky News, the Muslim Defence League running around Birmingham with machetes unopposed. And then they wonder why.
Videos as well. I was posting lots of these videos because, they were carrying weapons. They were, marching through the bloody streets in big numbers with weapons. And I'm talking like you're talking machetes, swords, and knives, bats. And I actually said, "Where are the police?" in my thing.
Yeah, too right.
Going back to Tommy Robinson's thing, the media just won't cover that. I think back a few months ago, you had 250,000 there, peaceful protests, people from all walks of life, people from all religions, all different colours, and the media just won't. They just keep branding him as this racist, and they just won't cover anything that he does good, and that to me that's a crime. Because they're supposed to be the news, they're supposed to be giving, fair and biased views, and they're not.
Yeah, I'd advise everybody to steer clear of the mainstream media at all costs, to be fair. Whilst we're on
BBC are the worst. They even when they reported on me now, they said I was an ex-Manchester United apprentice, and I wasn't an apprentice, and they didn't put in the headline that I was ex-Royal Marine, because they don't want that kind of attention around it.
Yeah, they're corrupt to the core. The BBC needs defunding.
Also, when I got arrested, they were putting pictures of the Southport riots up in the media. My missus said, and I actually, when I first got into prison, the guy who met us in there, he was one of the prisoners. He asked what I was in for, and I said, "Oh, some Facebook crap," and he went, "Oh my God, that's you!" Took me into his room, and I was there on TV, and they actually put my address. I don't know if they put my address there. My missus said they had put my address on the news, and knowing now that I was in jail and my missus and little girl were in the house by themselves in the middle of all them riots, and my Facebook, if they said my Facebook video was likely to stir up racial hatred or trying to stir up racial hatred, I haven't had one warning on Facebook, and it's still there. They still haven't taken it down, and they've just drawn a lot more attention to it now. So if that was the case, that surely they should try and get my video down.
Oh, 100%. The BBC are corrupt to the core, as I was saying. Elon Musk is doing his best to defund them, which I'm watching with glee. Let's go to the positive things now, and we're coming towards the end of the interview. So if you were watching and you want to send well wishes to Jamie, now's the time to do it. We've got over 500 people watching in it, and more will see this. So you're out. How's it been since you've been out? How's it been since your trial and you've got your acquittal? How are you adjusting to knowing that you're a free man with no
yeah, it's a good feeling. I have been quite busy since the trial finished. We went straight out, and all the people came with me. We went for a couple of drinks and a celebration. Then just waking up the next morning knowing that I haven't got that feeling there anymore. That, because building up to this, that was hard as well. I was having to tell my little girl that, Daddy could be going away to work again. And we didn't want to shock her this time. We just wanted to say, look, Daddy could be going away to work, and you will be able to see him, but he's gonna. That would mean on visits. But I had to kind of put that slightly in the background. I didn't want to push it too much because I believe in bloody manifestation as well. So I just want to put it there so it won't be a shock. But since I come out of prison, I had a tag on up until I had the Free Speech Union. They couldn't believe I had a tag on. They literally couldn't believe I had a tag on. They got that off straight away. But even then, I couldn't go out into the back garden. I did one night on accident because the dog was barking at something, I'd only had it on about a week, and I shit myself then, thinking the alarms are going to go off, but I run back quickly inside, and I had to be in at 10 o'clock in the evenings till 7 in the morning. When that took me a little bit of a while adjusting after I had the tag off, because just you kind of slightly feel you're still in kind of jail in your own house kind of thing, like,
Oh, 100%. That tag was awful. I hated having it on,
I wanted it off for Christmas because I knew, I had no faith in this system up until I went to that court, because I did actually have a fair judge, and I got to say he was really fair, and that's all I've been bloody praying for. But up until then, I wanted that tag off so that I could try and put it to the back of my mind and actually enjoy Christmas. But since I've been out, it's just been quite busy. It hasn't really properly sunk in yet.
And yeah, I was going to say that will come. I spent like 2 weeks out, and you're over the moon that you're out, and then all of a sudden you just sit there and you realise what you've actually been through. And I mean, it nearly broke my family. So I only wish you the best moving forward. What are your plans moving forward, Jamie? I know we talked on the phone earlier. You said you're going to start doing podcasts and things, that you're not going to let this affect your voice, your opinion. So what can we expect from you?
I've always had a voice, and in a political way. So people like yourself now want to speak to me, so I'm going to be probably doing more of that. I'm also in regular contact because when I made that video, I called for a meeting. I actually had a meeting, and we came to the conclusion that we wanted some formal representation. So I formed the local reform candidate, and I had been in regular talks to him up until I got arrested. He actually stood by me through all this, and he wrote a reference to me, and he's been absolutely brilliant. So he's encouraged me to get more involved with reform. So I'm going to get more involved with reform. I don't know in what kind of way, possibly, I'm just thinking about it at the moment. But like I said, I am politically kind of motivated. So I'm thinking of possibly going down that route. And yeah, I want to help these people who are in prison right now who shouldn't be there, like,
Oh, 100%. Well, I was going to say before, we spare a thought for those that are in prison at the moment. Tommy Robinson, who there's the words going about that he's not doing so well now. So we need to think about that. Still in isolation, which is despicable, really. You've got Wayne O'Rourke, who I know has been trying to appeal his decision, and that's hit a brick wall, I think, at this point. So that's bad news for him. We had
does he know about the Free Speech Union? Because I would definitely have his family approach them, because in my opinion, you shouldn't be looking into anyone else. You should have them.
I think so. I think he's aware of it. If not, then anybody watching this certainly needs to advise his wife or family member that that's what he probably needs to do. But I'm certain that he's had a good team looking at his case. The problem that they have, Jamie, is that they pleaded guilty. And this is where the scandal, this is where it pisses me off so much, is that so many people pleaded guilty that they've got no chance of appeal because they've actually admitted that they did it.
I could see that. I just thought if you plead guilty, I think they're just going to add an extra year on, so that the time they take off will be the same anyway. That was my way of thinking. I just thought this is, I could see it just didn't seem right. So I was never going to plead guilty anyway, because I knew that, like I said, I'm not a racist. Never have been a racist. Never said anything racist. So I was just going to stick to my guns, and whichever way it went then was just going to have to be that. I was just leaving it in the hands of fate.
Yeah, and well done for doing that, mate. It takes a lot of bottle to do it. I think we're the only two that have done it so far. I don't know of anybody else that's pled not guilty and had a jury and won. So
I thought someone said there was a few others, but I don't know of any others.
I don't.
Didn't know of you until yesterday.
Anybody knows of anybody that has done the same as me and Jamie, then please do contact me. I'd love to speak to them. But the way we're a membership of 2 at the minute, Jamie, so we're doing all right. Love to you, love to your family, Jamie. I'm really pleased that the all over for you. Keep in touch. I've got your number. I'll just read a few messages out before you go.
Mark, just well done to you as well, mate, and well done to you for what you were doing, because I know now it's not easy, especially after what's happened. So I take my hat off to you, mate.
I appreciate that, Jamie. I really do. Dave Barnes, wishing you and yours all the best. Happy you got a not guilty. Amy wants to know, what are your thoughts on UKIP?
To be honest with you, I just don't know much about them. I know. I think Tommy Robinson spoke highly of them. I'll have to have a look at them a bit more. But my favourite at the moment is Rupert Lowe.
Yeah, he's amazing.
I think he's a legend, and I think he's our Trump, and I got the utmost respect for him. I like the others as well, but some of the things that they've said about Tommy Robinson, I don't think he deserves that at all, and that's my only concern. Other than that, they're all good, and they fight in the same battles as us, really. But for me, Rupert Lowe is standing out by far.
He's head and shoulders the best politician that we've got in this country so far. He's not afraid to speak up. He's not afraid to challenge, and he's not afraid to do what needs to be done. I think with regards to UKIP, get your ex profile sorted. I'm interviewing Nick Tenconi, leader of UKIP, at the end of this month, so you'll be able to get a bit more from him. And I'm a reform member, by the way. I will vote reform. But my channel's all about seeing differences of opinions. So a few more messages for you. Reform won't go with mass deportation, says Amy. Dave Barnes, we're bringing the war to them now. Money talks, so stop paying in. If you haven't seen, I'm actually trying to spearhead a campaign on X, which is gathering speed very slowly, but we're getting there, of non-payment of council tax, non-payment of utility bills, non-payment of TV license.
Crazy what they're doing, cancelling them at elections, and then still asking everyone to pay the tax when they have got to stay in who represents them. Is absolutely crazy.
They have every right to cancel their payment, and all they need to say is, I'm cancelling my payment because you cancelled the elections and you've stopped us from having a vote. But also, where that's not happened yet, and I'm pretty sure that Labour are going to try this in most areas, delaying the elections, council elections. You have a right to not pay your council tax as well. It has to be done the right way. You can't just stop paying your council tax. You have to ring them, inform them that you're going to be withholding their money. You need to put that money into a separate account, so it's there if and when needed, and you need to give them a reason why you're not paying it. And there's a whole list of reasons that you can give.
Where I live in the Rhondda Valley, we got one of the highest rates of council tax in Britain. We're one of the most deprived areas, and there was a video down, which is our Senedd, which is our kind of parliament down there, going back during COVID, that we have something like 170 odd million in reservable surplus, and yet the council keep upping our council tax all the time, which really doesn't make sense. So there's big issues with the council tax.
100%. I think it's time to make a stand. I think the time is now. The more we leave it, the worse it's going to get for us. So I'm trying to get something going. Hopefully it will pick up speed. Everybody, if we get 1 million people who stop paying their council tax and stop paying the TV license, etc., it will work. It happened in the 80s with poll tax, or late 70s, whatever it was. So we can do it again, but we need to be unified to do that. Jamie, I'm going to let you get back to your work. I'm super pleased that you're out. Love to your family, love to your children, love to you. I really enjoyed speaking to you. What I would do is I'll pass on any messages from this that I get, and I will send them to you via message, mate.
Thank you very much, Mark.
Cheers, Jamie. Cheers. Thank you.